Well, hello there, everybody. How are you doing today? This evening, our Friday demo has arrived. It's going to be a doozy tonight. We have got a double header uh, funnel pour demo. I'm going to be doing two different funnel pours. I'll show you a new technique, or it's not new, but I haven't shown you this week yet. So it's new to you, perhaps, but new to our funnel pour week anyway. And I'll talk about that one. And then I'll be doing a larger one, which is going to be a split base funnel pour, similar to one we did before during our painting night live, which was on Tuesday. So it's going to be fun. I have a bunch of special paints I mixed up, and I'll walk you through what I did. There's a bunch of weird stuff, so I'll show you some different things, and we'll have to wait until we get the dry results to see the final effects, but I think it'll be a lot of fun and give you some new ideas. So welcome everybody who's joined me already. Great to see you all. We have got Sharon is here. Hello. Donna is here. Hey, Monique. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Carla is here. May is here. All right. So we got a bunch of people here. Susan has joined us. So fantastic, everyone. Let's see here. Robin has joined us. Hello. Lorna is here. Welcome, all of you. So it's going to be a really, really fun demo, I think, today. And so I'll walk you through everything we're going to be doing. I'll walk you through the color scheme. It's an analogous color scheme. We've been working with that kind of all week long. It's a fun color scheme. I think this will be a exciting one, I think. And Donna has also joined us. So we've got double Donnas, all right, which is fantastic. Can never have too many Donnas, is my opinion. But welcome, everyone. So I just want to remind you, those who aren't members, most of you are members, which is fantastic. And but I wanted to remind those of you who are not yet a member of our pouring studio, acrylic pouring membership, the clock is ticking, and we have 2 days left to for you to join the membership if you're interested. The doors close tomorrow, which is Saturday, on midnight Eastern time. So 9 o'clock Pacific time, midnight Eastern time. The membership will be closed, and it'll probably be closed for a while because I've got lots to do inside the membership. And I'm going to just remind you again of what you're going to be in store for, or what's in store for you if you decide to join us as a member. And this whole week is basically a snapshot of what we do inside the membership every month. We do we focus on one technique. This week, we're focusing on the funnel pour, which is really fun technique. And so Monday, I showed you the technique walkthrough. It explained everything, how it works, and gave you a funnel pour overview download sheet. So you can kind of keep notes and keep track of what you're doing. Tuesday, I walked you through some alternative ways of doing the funnel pour, which is really, really cool and fun. We got some pretty cool demos out of that day. Wednesday, we did a studio chat, and it was a little different this week. I talked a lot about mindset. I talked about how to plan out some of your paintings and approach them, how to record them in your paint pouring journal, which you can also get for free, by the way, on my website, acrylicpouringacademy.com. And then yesterday, we had our little Q&A. So a lot of questions came in. I answered all kinds of different questions, but we do that every single month. I'm here to answer questions for you to help you, solve your problems and move forward with your paint pouring. And then today, which is our demo day again, we have our final open demo. So everyone could join us for this particular demo today. But next week, the demos on Friday will only be for members of the Pouring Studio. I'll still be doing some videos on YouTube and the occasional live, demo perhaps or video on Facebook. but most of them will be just for the members only. So this week has been a little glimpse of what we do inside the membership every single month. Plus, there is a whole bunch more that you can get if you join the membership by the end of tomorrow, there are 4 incredible bonuses that you could grab. The first one is my brand new course, Fluid Art Foundations, which is a pretty comprehensive course walking you through my entire paint pouring system from start to finish. I go over all of the materials, all of my paint mixing system, which is I don't want to say complex system, but it is a very detailed system. There's no guessing with my system. It's all very laid out for you, so you can recreate it pretty exactly. And then I walk you through 3 of the core paint pouring techniques: the ring pour, the flip cup, and the direct pour. All 3 of which I really enjoy doing a lot, and they kind of make up a lot of other techniques in our paint pouring universe. So those are 3 important ones, and I'll walk you through all 3 of them. You also have access to the foolproof pouring mini course, which is kind of a beginner's course on if you're just getting started in paint pouring. It shows you the first steps to take and leads you through how to mix your paints a very, very easy way. And so you can get some pretty good results using inexpensive materials. And then I've got more courses on the way. I have got a paint consistency course, which is going to explain how to get the perfect consistency for every paint pouring technique you might need or want. I'm going to have some special tools in that course, so you can get the perfect consistency dialed in no matter what, pretty much. That course will be released next month. And then I've also got a how to price your artwork course, and that's coming out as well. Walks you through 3 different strategies, from kind of a simple strategy to a much more advanced strategy, all about pricing your artwork when the time is right for you. If you're interested in starting to sell your work, it'll be a very helpful course. It comes with 3 kind of custom-made calculators that I use for my own paintings, and to calculate all of the different things that go into pricing your artwork. It's quite comprehensive. There's a lot to think about when you're pricing your work, and you want to get it right the first time, and you don't want to kind of be backtracking with that. It's not a good look for artists to be changing their pricing around all that often. So if you start in the right foot, it'll be very, very helpful for you. And I'll make it very easy with that course, and give you a lot of different options to think about and use and choose the right one for you. So that course will be coming out. And then I also have many more courses on the way. I'm planning them out right now. I've outlined several of them, but you'll get all of those courses, every single course I create in the future for free. It'll all be part of your membership if you join during this very short window now. It's 2 days only. All of those courses will be yours for free. So it's a one-time only deal. I'll never be offering these bonuses again. So now is definitely the time. If you're at all interested or even curious, I would recommend jumping in just to see what you get. It only will cost you $25. That's the cost per month in the membership. Or you could pay annually if you wanted to. You could save 2 months and get 2 months for free, and that would be $250. But the cost is low. So if you're just curious at all about what's inside, I urge you to go take a look. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you can go check that out at your convenience. And I'll be talking about this one more time tomorrow. And that will be it. And then the doors will be closed. We are going to get back to work inside the pouring studio. Next week, we're going to start working on our brand new technique, which is going to be the string pull / chain pull technique. I'm very excited about it. I think our members are very excited about it. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So if you've enjoyed these last 2 weeks, especially this last week, that's what we do every single month inside the pouring studio. We have a lot of fun. There's a private members-only Facebook group you could join if you wish. It's not a requirement. You don't have to be in there. but it's a lot of fun to be in there. We have an art show every month. You can kind of show off your paintings. You can look at other members' paintings. It's a great way to gauge your progress and other members' progress. And I give away some prizes, which is also really, really fun. So it is a really great membership. My members are fantastic, very supportive. Our community is wonderful. And it's a very encouraging place. It's a safe place. Artists can be very sensitive and kind of shy about sharing their work. We embrace you with open arms in our membership, and I share everything I have with you. So no matter what question you might have, I'll give you the best answer I've got at the moment. So it is a great membership. We do a lot of learning in there. So you really want to be able, if you want to take your painting to another level, really progress in your skills and paint pouring knowledge, then the membership is for you. If you don't really plan on painting, if you just kind of like watching videos and stuff and it's fun, I wouldn't recommend the membership. It's for doers and action takers, not for just video watchers. So keep that in mind too. But with that, I think let's take a look at some of the colors we're going to be using, and we'll get into talking about our demos for today. And also just checking the chat box here. If you have any questions throughout our demos, throw them in the chat box. I will be happy to answer them for you. And let's see, I'm just going to scroll back up here. We've got a lot of action happening. So in the chat box, and okay, let me just see here. Okay, just yeah, everyone's talking about all kinds of different things, the weather and all kinds of stuff. It's windy somewhere, but cool. All right. So anyway, and okay, cool. Well, let's take a look at our colors for today. I'm going to flip my camera over here and show you this. So we're going to be working with a analogous color palette. This is the download that you have access to. It's one of the resources you could get in the acrylic pouring extravaganza download section. We've got our analogous color harmonies. Today we're going to be working with a blue, green, blue, blue violet, and violet analogous color scheme. And an analogous color scheme are any four colors next to each other on the color wheel. Here are all of the different combinations you could get. We're working with this one right here, and I'm kind of cheating over to the red violet slightly, but it's right in this family here. You can always cheat a little bit. You don't have to be super strict to these colors. A little fudging here or there is totally fine. So blue, green, blue, blue, violet, and violet. That is our color scheme for today. And let me show you some of these colors here. I'm mixing up some special ones. And here is one, the first one. This is a color shift color from Folk Art. They make a really pretty line of colors that are kind of color shifting. This is very similar to an interference color. There's some kind of particles, mica particles in here. So when you change angles, the paint kind of changes color. So this kind of goes from a kind of a red violet to more of a blue color shift. It's a very cool paint. So we'll be using this one. This is one of the special colors we'll be using today. And I've got a couple standard ones. This is just a kind of a black. It's like a greenish black. It looks pretty much black to you on the camera, but there's a little bit of color in that one. I have got this is kind of a fun color. This is metallic white and silver. And right here, I just use my Artist Loft metallic white and some silver to mix up an off-white. So it's kind of a pearly looking whitish color. I love to use metallic white, and I always tend to tint it with something. So this one is a little off-white tinted with the silver. And then over here, not that one, this one is a turquoise. This is kind of a mixture of a few different turquoisey colors. There's a turquoise and like a turquoise like this. And then there's also some metallic teal in there. So it's kind of a mix of a couple different things, but it's right in our family. And then I've got some more special things here. I've mixed up a couple of pigments, and I'll move these back for the second. I've mixed up some primary elements, pigments. We were discussing pigments in our members only Q&A this last Thursday, and people wanted to see some pigments inside my next demo. So I said, sure, I'll mix them up for you. We mixed this one in that Q&A, and this is a blend. It's a mixture of paint and the primary elements. This is this color is called Pinky Swear, which is a reddish violet looking color. And then I also use some Prism Violet from Liquitex Basics in here. So it's you have to wet. It's called wetting the pigments. So first thing I did was put a scoopful of our pigment in our cup. Used a little bit of Liquitex pouring medium, just a tiny bit to get it into a slurry form. Then I added 2 parts Floetrol, mixed that up, and then I added 1 part of our Pearl Violet or Prism Violet, and I don't know where I put that. I'm looking for it. I can't find it. It's somewhere around here, but that's just the Liquitex Basics Prism Violet. It's a translucent or transparent color. So this will be a fun color. It's very sparkly. You're not going to get the full effect of the pigments, though, until the painting dries. And then the Floetrol will go clear, will dry clear. Then you'll get the full effect of our sparkly pigments. So that is one. Here is another one. This is primary elements. This is called Chrysolia. I don't know what that is. Chrysolia. It's kind of a blue teal color. So like a blue-green type of a color. And this is only the pigments by themselves. So again, I mixed a slurry of them using a little bit of Liquitex pouring medium to create that slurry. And then I added 2 parts of Floetrol. And then to thicken it up, and let me show you the consistency. Here is a stick. It's the same consistency as the other paints, but we need to add something to that to thicken this up. Otherwise, it would be very, very watery with just Floetrol and that little bit of Liquitex pouring medium. So what we use to thicken this up is, where did it go? Here we are. It's I use Golden Soft Gel, and you could use other types of soft gel. Liquitex makes one. I'm sure there are many other brands, but Golden is a pretty popular one, and it's got some body to it, similar to a tube paint, but it will dry clear. So there's no pigment in it at all. It does look white when it's wet, much like Floetrol looks kind of whitish when it's wet. Same with Liquitex pouring medium, looks kind of white. I'll show you. So it's kind of like a whitish looking, it's got a white look to it, but it dries clear. So when this dries, all we'll be left with is the pigments. So it should be a very sparkly look on the painting, but when everything goes clear. But when it's wet like this, it's hard to see all of the sparkles, just because it's they're kind of hiding within all of that kind of opaque-ish, milky looking medium and Floetrol. So, but that's how you mix up a pigment if you wanted to use it in your pours, like with the funnel pour like we're doing today, or ring pour, or a flip cup. These are 2 ways of mixing up your pigments. There are many different ways, but these 2 work pretty well, and they're pretty simple. So we'll be using 2 different pigments. We'll be using a color shift paint, and I've got one more to show you. Let me put that aside. Let me move these, get these out of the way. And we'll be the final color. Well, I've got some base coat colors as well, but the final special color we're going to be using is an interference color. And this is an interference color by Amsterdam. This is a pearl violet, and it looks very white. And again, this is very similar to all acrylic mediums. They look very white when they're liquid, but it will dry very transparent. This is a transparent color, but it'll have a color shift. It'll have a color shift quality to it. So it'll look kind of purple in one light and kind of a red violet in another light. And I'll kind of show you, I'll give you an example of what it can look like. It might be hard to see this, but I'm going to try to, I'll hold it up to the camera and just kind of turn my stick here so you can kind of see a little bit of the color shiftiness. It might be kind of difficult, but you can kind of see it. It's kind of it'll go from like a purple to more of a red-violet color. But we won't get the full effect of this until the painting is dry. So I'll share the dry results with you, and we'll see what happens. Sometimes, frequently, interference colors kind of get lost in your paintings because the other colors will cover them, and it's hard for unless the interference is on top, it's on a top layer of your canvas, it's hard for it to show up. But we'll try it and see what happens. So I've got a plan for it, and we'll see how it turns out. So those are the special colors that we'll be using, and it's just fun to kind of play around with them. And you don't need to use any of these, by the way. This is kind of just a special demo. I thought I'd mix some up, and we'll see what they do. But you definitely don't need them. So the pigments can be kind of expensive, and then you need the golden soft gel, which is kind of expensive. So you don't need any of these paints, really. You can just go with the standard paints if you wanted to. So, but we'll try these out and see what we get. So I'm going to move all of these aside, and then I've got a few more colors. I've got colors for my base coat. This is a very light. It's a very light blue violet color. Liquitex Basics is a beautiful color. I've added white to get it a little lighter, so we have more of a very, very light kind of lilac color. It's very pretty, and that'll be part of our base coat. I've got a darker color here. This will be another part of our base coat. Just put those aside. This is one of my favorite colors, metallic cobalt blue. So it's a blue violet, or blue-green color, metallic blue-green. But I've added some black to it because I wanted a darker color. And this will also be part of our split base funnel pour. And then I've got one more. So we're getting all kinds of different colors. And this one, I don't have as much. I'm going to use less of this. But this is more of a red-violet color, red-violet. And this is made with purple gray, which is another one of my favorite colors. So that's purple gray. A little bit of, there's a little bit of white in here, or a silver, I mean. A little bit of silver to lighten it up just a touch. But this is kind of a middle value. This is more of a dark, and this is more of a light value. So I'm kind of covering a lot of different value ranges with all these colors. And this is quite a few colors. And you definitely don't need all of these. We're experimenting with a kind of a lot of different things. So it should be fun. So I'm going to just check here. I'm going to go back and arrange my paints here and see if there are any questions. And let's see here. Let's see. And JC is asking, interference paint are cool in Dutch pours, yes? And I think they would be, yeah. I haven't done very many with them. I've tried them once or twice, but in a Dutch pour, you can kind of keep colors on top because you're kind of blowing them out. So they have a much better chance of showing up in the dried results. So it always changes though. You never can predict the results exactly. Interference can be kind of tricky to use. But one thing you could do with them, and here's just a little tip if you wanted to, because interference colors are kind of meant to be glazed on, like after a painting is dry. So you could take some interference paint like this. You could thin it down a little bit. You don't need to use Floetrol or anything like that. Just a little bit of maybe a soft gel, like the golden soft gel. You could mix up a little bit of interference paint, and you could brush it on in certain areas, especially on a Dutch pour. You could kind of draw some or paint on some interference colors in some of the, like your petal looking shapes. And then when that dries, it'll be transparent, but you'll get this very cool color shift effect. So that's kind of how they're designed to be used as a more of a glazing technique. But we're going to try them with the pour. We'll see what happens. So let's see here. I'm just checking to see if there are any other questions. And then Chase is also saying, don't metallics give a shimmer? Absolutely, and I use them all the time. You can get a more intense kind of shimmer with pigments sometimes, but you know, I don't use them very often in my paintings. But a lot of other people do, especially with blooms. People use pigments all the time. I thought I'd just break them out and show you a couple different options. But again, you don't have to use any of these colors if you don't want to. Let's see. Let's see here. All right, so I don't see any. Let's see. Let me go back down at the bottom here. Cool. Okay, no other questions. Or JC's got another one. It's are they similar to dragon glaze? You mean the pigments or the color shift? There's many of these types of kind of fancy paints, these kind of fancy craft paints. These ones work pretty good, but there's many others you can try. The dragon glaze ones, I think, is what you're referring to, is a different version of this, a different type of special effects type of paint. So, all right. And Lana has a great comment. Canella and Rinska did very beautiful interference colors with the Dutch pour. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for posting that. Yeah, you can get some amazing results. But you know, they're not guaranteed. So, but that's great to know. Cool. And let's see here. And Novala said, what was the last B, the last bottle? This one? Well, this is the color right here. This is this color shift paint right here. This kind of blue violet color. It's a very pretty color. So you'll see it when we start to layer our funnel. Cool. And Sharon is asking about the formula for the blue pigment. For this one, like for the color shift, it's the same as all of the others. These are all the easy formula, 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint. With this one in particular, it's a little thinner than the 2 paints. So I use very, very little water. I had to add a little bit, but just very, very little. And we have a small mound with all of the paints, all these consistencies, a small mound. So, all right. And then Novala is asking, what was the blue 2 paint you mixed? This one is this blue one here. I guess you can't see that. This one, this big old cup of paint is the light blue violet. So I'll put all the colors and brands in the replay. So you could check them out. If you wanted to give them a try, they'll all be in the replay for you. So you don't have to write these down or remember them or anything like that. So, all right. And Lynn is asking, do you have to use the same pouring medium for every paint in a pour? I usually do. Like I try not to mix, but I usually just use Floetrol. But if you wanted to switch between the Floetrol and let's say like the Liquitex, recipe I use, that also has Floetrol in it. What I wouldn't recommend is probably going from like a Floetrol recipe and then combining in like the glue-based paints. I try to keep those separate. So, but yeah, mostly like I use Floetrol, and then for my main pouring medium, sometimes I'll have additional additives, but it all is basically a Floetrol formula. And then I'll have a glue-based formula. And I try to keep those two separated. But if you've got Floetrol in like a little Liquitex, or Floetrol and some golden pouring medium, all these little things, you can have all these different paints with different additives, but it's still basically a Floetrol-based formula in my view. So that's a good question, though. Thanks, Lynn. And I'll talk more about the colors as we go here a little bit. And so here we go. I'm going to flip the camera, and we're going to get started. So let me add this. Let me bring up my other camera too, just so I have it ready to go. So I'm going to move these aside, and I got to remember what all these things are. So I got to, I've written down, like on the pigments, I know that they're pigments. I've written them down. This is the interference. I'm going to have to write that down, because it looks a lot like my silver and white mix. These look very similar, although this has a slightly violet hue to it. So, okay. Let me move this aside. I've got so much stuff over here on my table. I've got to clear it off before we can get going. So here are all our colors, and I've got the pigments are at the top. Can you see that? Nope, you can't. So just a second. Okay, I had to zoom out a little bit so I can fit all these paints in here. And I might not use every one of these base coats in the first demo. Here are the three colors. Okay, so the first technique we're going to do, I forgot to spritz my canvas. I am going to use my squirt bottle and kind of just wet the back of my canvas quick. There we go. And so that'll get nice and tight. It just takes about 30 seconds or so. And you don't have to let that water dry. I just spritz it and then I go. So here is our first one. It's kind of a smallish canvas. This is an 11 by 14. And I'm going to do, the first funnel pour I'm going to do is a ripple pour. And this is one that Olga uses a lot. I think she invented this one. But you take your funnel and then you kind of, I have my side camera set up so I can show you, but you kind of just bounce your funnel on top of your canvas, and it creates this interesting ripply effect. So, and in this particular demo, I'm covering the whole canvas with our funnel pour. There's not going to be any negative space. That's not what I have planned. So I'm basically looking at this as like a flip cup or a ring pour. So I need to know how much paint to put in my funnel. So I have 6 ounces right here. And that's how much I need for an 11 by 14, 6 ounces. And I measure my funnels, and you can do this and write in there with a Sharpie marker or something how much paint you need to put in there. This is a 12-ounce mark. That's a 6-ounce mark. So I'm going to bring it up to the 6-ounce mark, and that's how much I need. And I also have a base coat on there as well. So let's get started. I'm going to first put my base coat on. And I think I'm going to use, what am I going to use here? I think I'll go with some of the blue. I might use a couple colors. Maybe I know what I'll do. So I'm going to put a little blue on. And I'm just going to spread this out a little bit with my knife. And then I'm going to put some of the kind of a red violet. And I'm going to get my big knife. And if these mix together, that's fine. So I'm just going to spread this out. And so I want a little bit thicker, just a touch thicker base coat than normal, just because I want the paint to kind of submerge into the base coat as it comes out of the funnel. I'm going to wipe off my knife here. And move the blue around, and then I'll kind of mix these two together a little bit. So this will be kind of fun. All this is going to get covered up. So I'm not too worried about it. But it looks pretty good. I got all kinds of drips and stuff going on. That's okay. So let's see. Cool. So I'm going to see. I think I saw a question here. And Donna's got a great comment. She says, please use a mask for pigments. That stuff can hurt you. Yes, it's very, very fine. So you don't want to inhale it. It'd be very easy to. So it's very, very fine powder. So wear a dust mask, or if you do resin, your respirator, that'll work good, because you don't want that inhaling any of that stuff. So yes, the pigment powder is like a very fine powder. So, all right. So with that out of the way, I'm gonna get this out of here. So here we go. I'm gonna flip the camera now. And all right, so here we've got our base coat on. I might tilt this a little. Why not? Just before I get going. You kind of even it out just a touch. Okay, that's good enough. So we've we've positioned this correctly. Is that good? Right there. I think that's good. So my funnel is going to go right here. Oh boy. Now let me go back. I'm thinking about this, and I want you to see what I'm putting in the funnel. So I have I'll do this. I'm going to go back over here so that I can put my funnel down. I'll fill it up, and then I'll switch the camera, and then you can see what happens. So, okay, we got a lot of camera action going on. So first of all, I'm not going to use any of these base coat colors. I'm just going with these colors. And I think I'm going to start with kind of this turquoise, a little bit of that. Maybe a little bit of our dark. And I'll go into this is that pigment, one of the pigments. This is the silver, and white, metallic white. Here's some of that color shift. And here's the other pigment color. And let's see, what do I want next? Maybe a little more of our light color. I'll go that turquoise again. A little bit more of our red violet. And then I'm going to put that interference color on last. So here's our other pigment color. And we're almost there. I'm going to do a little more of our the color shift, a little more of the white. And then on top of that, I'm gonna drizzle some of our interference kind of all over the top. So as this is coming out of the funnel, the interference will kind of be the last thing out of the funnel. Hopefully it'll kind of float across some of the top colors and give it that interference look. So that is 6 ounces. Now I'm going to flip the camera here. There we go. And let's begin. So what I'm going to do is try to keep my hand out of the way so you can see the kind of the funnel bouncing up and down. And then let's just start. We kind of just bring it up and down and kind of tap it like this, and it kind of creates this interesting ripply effect. I'll let it kind of move a little bit more and then continue. And that's it. We've got all of our paint out. So I'm going to just pull this away. And it looks pretty, it looks very pretty. We get a lot of mixing with this particular technique. Pretty much any funnel pour technique, you get a lot of mixing within your colors. So analogous colors are great to use because you're not going to get lots of mud. We have some beautiful grays and a bunch of cells that are popping up. I'll show you that in a second. I'm just going to quickly wipe out my funnel. Okay. So let's, it's kind of wanting to scooch off of the canvas. I'm going to just move that back a little bit. Let's take a look from the top view. And that should hopefully get cleared up a little bit. So I'm going to tilt this. We got these beautiful rings. And one great thing to do is to spin it out if you wanted to. You could spin this and it'll kind of just expand this all across your canvas. That would be very cool. You could just tilt it just like this and you're going to distort all these rings. But I'm excited about that. The other thing you could do is you could go in and do a little manipulation if you wanted to. And I might try some. Just why not? So I'm going to bring out my little box of tools here. And I know some of you are not big fans of the combs, but I'm just going to use this one. So with this one, I'm going to manipulate a little bit of this paint puddle before I tilt it. And then it's going to create interesting designs as this expands and gets tilted out. So, and I'm not going to do a lot of this, just a little bit. And then I've got these fun little tools. They're like small small little balls, steel balls on the end of these little rods, which are very fun. And but I'm going to do a little bit of movement. You can kind of draw in your paint. And again, you don't have to do any of this stuff. I just want to see what's going to happen. So I'm going to kind of work with some of these cells. Just to do a little manipulation. And all of this is going to change dramatically as we start to tilt the painting. And maybe one more, and then I think we'll be ready to go. Okay. So we're just, you know, I've wrecked it, if you can call it that. I've manipulated it with some tools. I've done a little tiny bit of comb stuff, not very much. And I don't like to do tons and tons of it. I like to do a little bit of it. But then I always like to tilt it afterwards. And that's what we're going to do right now. So here we go. The first thing I need to do is just expand this out a little bit, and it's already expanded quite a lot. So I'm just going to expand it a little more. And then I'm just going to pick a corner and just start tilting off the corner. And so that's one. And there's a lot of paint on here. I was a little too generous, I think, with my base coat. But I'm going to go off of this corner next. Tilt back. Yeah, I got a lot of paint. My gosh. So too much. So there we go. That's three. Final one. And I'm just kind of going to move this kind of dramatically here. But there we go. That's our, we've tilted everything. We've covered the corners, the edges. Now we can take a look at it, see if there's anything else we want to do. Final adjustments. And I'm going to just wipe my hands quickly. So it's an unusual painting, and it would look different if we didn't do all the manipulation. If we had spun it out, it would look different. If we had just tilted just our rings, it would look different. I quite like a lot of what's happening. What I want to try to do, I like this area a lot. I don't love the center, like this right here. I don't like this shape. So I think I'm going to try to tilt that aggressively so I can kind of change the shape of this and move it out of the center somewhat. So let me just try it and see what happens. I'm going to just lift it up and kind of tilt it straight and fast. Okay. So I moved that. I'm going to move it back now. I moved it way up to the top. Now I'm going to just kind of bring it back down. So I'll show you in a second here. Okay, so there we go. That I like better. So let's see. Anything else? I think I like that better. I'm seeing lots of stops in sadness. I'm sorry to cause so much heartbreak over in the comment section. Oh my gosh. So there we go. I like that a whole lot better. We have a much more interesting shape here. I like that the red violet is going off of our canvas. To me, that's a much more interesting composition. So, but that's a fun technique. And I mean, there's many ways you could manipulate this one and change it or do different things. The spinning out way is really cool. Just tilting it right after we do our ripple funnel is really cool. So I'm going to just scrape the bottom, and then once this dries, we'll see what happens with all that interference color and with the color shift and the pigments. Be interesting to see the final result. All right. So there we go. I'm going to scoop up all this paint. There's tons of paint. I used way, way, way too much. But I'll show you what you can do with that. So I'm just going to grab a cup here, an empty cup, and then I'm just going to scoop it all up and save it and use it again. And this is what you can do with your leftover paints. And I don't mind any of these colors mixing together. They're going to create a beautiful neutralized purple color. So I do this pretty much with all my paintings. Scrape up the leftovers and save them. And I'll have 5 ounces of paint I can use in the future. You don't have to get every last little drip, but just the bulk of it. And so it kind of can be a messy process, but there we go. I've got some paint. Just wipe off the little top, and we can mix it up and just see what we got. Let's do it super quickly. I'm just grab a stick and just see what all these colors make together. It's just going to be a beautiful like gray purple, which I love. And it'll be kind of shimmery, and it's got metallics in there and interference colors and all kinds of stuff, pigments. So just a beautiful purple color. I'll use it down the road. So let me move this painting off, and I'll get ready for our next one. Okay, so let me grab my okay, so this is a 16 by 20. This is one of my panels. Let me zoom out, get that in here. I'm going to have to move my... There we go. Cool. All right, so this is all prepped, ready to go. And we're going to do something similar. We're going to do a funnel pour, another one, but I'm going to be doing a split base funnel pour. So I'm going to use all three of these colors right here. Mostly I'm going to use the blue violet. Will take up the most room. And then the green, this like dark green, will take up the second amount of room. And then the red will take up a third area. So that's going to be, blue is going to be center stage, green will be next, and then the red violet will be a smaller little section. And then we're going to do funnel drags through there, maybe two, definitely one for sure, maybe two, and we'll see what happens. So I'm using all the same colors, but I'm planning on having negative space in this one. So, and I want like small amounts of each of these, or a larger amount of the blue, some of each of these to have some negative space somewhere in the painting. We'll find out what happens and where they wind up. So, all right, so let's just begin. I'm going to just start pouring on some of the blue. And I'll probably just spread it around with my knife again. And here we go. I might add some more in a minute. I might tilt off a couple of the edges also before I do the funnel. So and I want to make an interesting, simple shape here. So I'm thinking all about just composition and spreading this out kind of thinly. And I think I'm going to turn this quick and do a little tilting off of the corner, which will save me having to do it after the funnel drag is on there. So this is kind of like a hybrid type of a flood coat type of thing. So I'm just letting the paint run down the edges. And sides, and I can always go back and use my hand and just kind of cover any bare spots. So I'd probably take a little more time to do this if it wasn't a demo, but we want to get to it, to the fun part. So that looks pretty good. I'm just going to check this side here. That side's in pretty good shape. Maybe a touch more. Okay. So it's taking a little longer just because I'm putting on three colors here. And So bear with me. But I'm ready for color number 2. So next I'm going to pour on our red. And I think I'm going to pour the red kind of in this area right here. And this will be the smallest section. I gotta wipe my knife off. And I want these to keep these relatively separate, keep them from mixing a lot at this stage. There we go. I can put on just a touch more and have it roll over the that side. All right, so there we go. And now the green. And wipe this off. So the green is going to cover the rest of the panel here. And it's going to be, so we have a large area of our light blue, a very small section of our middle value, our red-violet, and then the green, the dark, will be kind of the in-between. So, you know, larger than this, but smaller than our blue. And I'll just spread that out and just want to kind of kiss it into the edges of our other colors. And I don't want to be, you know, super careful. I just want a nice border. So I want them all to be touching, but I'm not going to be like blending them together like I did the last one. And I'll run the funnel right on these edges. So I got kind of a lot of our dark green on there. So that looks pretty good. I'm just going to run it off of the edge. And I know it doesn't look like much now, but this is all just preparing for the fun stuff. Okay, I think we're ready. And so I like to, you know, I've covered pretty much all the edges. What that is going to do is allows me a lot of flexibility. So I can tilt where I want, when I want, but everything's covered already. So I might not tilt a lot. I might tilt more. I can do kind of whatever I want because I've already covered the whole panel. So next up, I think I'll maybe pop a couple air bubbles here. I've got a bunch of them. All right. So there's a lot of preparation involved in this one. So, which is good. You know, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we're preparing to have something good happen. But you always want to try your best. And I like to do these more thought out pours. And now, so I've planned this I mixed all the colors. I have my big blue area, my smaller red violet area, this large dark area, 3 different values. I'm going to put my funnel on. I'm going to fill it up, and I'll be thinking about how I fill my funnel. But then I'm pretty much just going to let it go. No expectations, like I talked about before, and just see what the paint does. It's the paint's time to shine when it comes out of the funnel. So we'll see what it wants to do today. So I'm going to be using this big one, and it's got a big hole, a big opening, or for a funnel anyway, relatively big hole. So I'm going to start over on the corner here. I'll move this in. And I want the paint to come out along this edge and maybe down here a little bit. Maybe I'll pull it off and go back like I did before. So we'll just see what happens. So I'm just going to set it on here and just start adding some colors. So before we started with some darks, I'm going to start with maybe some of the teals. And maybe that's the color shift. And then I'll go to the light. This is the metallic white and silver. Maybe that's a little too dark for the moment. I'm going to put some of the pigment stuff in there. Here is the light, the red violet one. Maybe a little bit of the dark. I want a little bit of that in. I'm going to do, that's probably all we got with our white silver mixture. And let's see. I'll take and put some more of that in. And I don't want to overdo it. So I've got, and you can always do another funnel pour too. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of the, that was the interference color, put that on top, and then call that good. So we'll move this one around, see how far we get. And if we want to, we can always add another one. And I've got another small funnel right here for a smaller amount of paint. So let's, I'll flip the camera again. And oh my gosh, that's a crazy view. Just so you can see what's coming out of the funnel. And let's get going. It's already starting to come out a little. So here we go. I'm kind of dragging it. It's all the way down. I haven't really lifted the funnel yet. And you can kind of do a little bit of what we just did, the ripple here too, if you wanted. I'm just kind of regulating the amount of paint coming out. I think I'll save that for a little later. How much do I got left? Quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of move this off the edge and stick my finger in it. And I'm going to just stick it back down right here. And just continue. Now, one thing I don't want is that to go right into the corner. So I'm going to have to work on that. I don't want anything going right off the very tip of the very edge. So, but I like this. We've got like kind of a lightish area right in here. I'll flip the camera and show you what that looks like. And let me move this over here. And so what do I got left here? So let me show you what I got. Let's take a look from the top. So a bunch of big blobs of color. And Navala just says it mixes a lot in the funnel. It sure does. yeah, the paint mixes a lot because it's all being concentrated right out of that nozzle. So, but I think what I want to do, I'm going to take the small one, and I need to get some more, another light color. I think I'll use a little of our blue, our very light blue, because I should probably put some of that in here, but I'm going to take our second funnel and go right through the middle here with a few more colors. I've got a little bit of our white left, a little bit of this blue, but I want a little more blue in here. So I'm just going to set it on here. Let's add a little more of, let's add this. I'll add a little bit of this color shift stuff. A little bit of this teal, not much. We got plenty of the teal, but we want a little more of a red. Maybe a little more of our blue. And let's see if I can get some of that, the last little drips of the white or the silver and white out in there. And then a little more of this interference. So put some of that in there. Okay. So now I'm just going to kind of move it across through the puddle we already had. Why not move it down here a little bit? Have any more? A tiny bit more. I'll just let it go over here. There we go. All right, so we've added some more interest and lights, which I like. And it's time to do a little bit of super aggressive tilting to move this paint around and see what we can make happen. So we've set ourselves up for something interesting. Now we need to tilt this paint and move it in interesting ways. And that happens by usually tilting very quickly and aggressively. So the paint does interesting things. So first of all, I'm going to turn it and kind of tilt the other way into the blue section first. And let's go. So here we go. I'm going to just move it around. Oh. Losing some of the green down there. And first thing I'm seeing is I used way too much paint in the funnels. But we'll see if you can make something cool happen anyway. Okay, so weird and crazy. I need to do a little more tilting of something somewhere. But just thinking about where. See, I don't like this right here. I think there's so little of that. I'm going to tilt that off. Yep, a little more. Okay, so it's basically just a big old, this is what I would call a big giant like ribbon pour now. So because there's just too much paint. I just put too much paint on. And we eliminated all the negative space, which is a shame. Well, let's just do our best and see what we can create here. Okay, so let's take a look. So I like the color palette. The colors are cool. There's a lot of interesting things. My original intention has changed dramatically, but that's often what happens with paint pouring. And you got to remember, this is important to know, is usually when you're making these paintings, you're the only one that ever sees this process. Everyone who looks at your paintings, the final result, that's all they see is the final result. So, if things change and you're like, oh my gosh, it didn't look like the intention I was after, well, don't worry about that, because you can still have a great painting. No one's going to know. Like it's a whole different story when you're making a video and everyone's watching the entire process. But most of the time, no one's watching your painting from beginning to end. It's just an important thing to remember. So, but we've got a lot of cool effects. I want to I'm just taking a glance at it. I'll point out what I like about it, and then I'll see if there's anything I want to change. I see a couple things I might want to modify just a slight bit. But we're getting cells and stuff happening, which is kind of fun. I really like these really tight lines we've got in here. I'm sure it's probably hard in the camera to see, but we've got right in here, all of this is all the color shifting paint right in here. And it's very pretty. So this is going to look very cool. I like the darks. We've got captured a few darks, not lots of darks. And so it's like this is more of a green side than the red side. But I think it's quite a pretty painting. We didn't keep all that negative space. We got a little bit right up here. So I like that. We got a tiny, tiny bit. But so right here, this corner, I'm not thrilled with. It's very dark, which I like the darks, but it's right in the corner. I think I might tilt some of that off. I think that would help. Let me try that. I just want to be careful. No, it's really not wanting to go anywhere. So I'm just going to bring it back a little. I'm just going to let it go. So that's all about, we've got a good painting. We don't need a perfect painting or anything. So just let it be good. I'm happy with that. So, but yeah, I quite like it. I'm just looking at this edge here. We've got kind of a okay. Well, I think I'm going to call that good. And so all that prep work, we put all that in the base coat, the 3 different colors, intending for something else a little bit, but, you know, it didn't quite work that way. But that's okay. We got an interesting looking painting anyway. So let's see here. And I'm excited to see how it dries. And I know it's going to have a lot of interesting, cool effects in it. So just scraping the bottom. All right, so there we go. That is kind of a funnel pour went with too much paint. So, all right. And then let me flip back here and I'll answer any questions you might have. And let me go back. So I'll share a picture of this with you when it is all dry. I'm excited to see what will happen. So where's my mouse? Here we go. Okay. So let me see if you got any questions. Oops, I gotta have a drink here quick. Okay. And Carl is asking, are the transparent parts the interference? Partly it's the interference mixed with the silver and the white, the metallic white. So I'm not sure exactly where the interference is hiding in here. We'll find out once it dries. I do know there's a lot of interesting color shifting I can see already, probably from our blue color shift. This is usually more apparent than the interference colors because there's like lots of pigments in this. But we'll find out. So it'll be fun to see what happens. And let's see here. And Naval is saying, on my screen, they look a little milky. Yeah, they will look a little milky because, you know, that's the way all of the acrylic mediums usually look when they're wet. But same with the white and the silver. That will dry white, though. Metallic white and silver. It'll dry white. The interference will dry clear, but have that color shifting aspect to it. So let's see. And Barbara's asking, ring pour consistency. Yeah, this is very close. My pretty much my standard consistency, small mound, and you'll be in good shape with this one. And then Lily is asking, so should you have used about a third less paint? I probably should have used half as much paint. I should use far less paint. And the reason is because I had that great big funnel with a big opening. I just filled it up way too high. And then I went back on top with the smaller funnel and filled it even more. So I compounded the problem. So yeah, I probably would have used, I've got a, do I have it out now? With this funnel, the great big black one I used, there's a middle size to this. I should have used the middle size, but I think it's in my water bucket. Yep, it's in my water bucket from the last funnel pour. So yeah, I should have used probably about half as much paint. And then we would have been able to keep a lot more of the negative space and create a more interesting looking funnel. So like the one behind me, you know, that one, this one right here, I did a lot of tilting and I had negative space, but that wasn't the whole intention, negative space. I wanted to keep some of it, but I used more paint with this one. Even that, I should have used maybe less paint and then keep more of that. So yeah, that's a great question, Lily. So yeah, use less than you think you might need. So I used way too much. And Monique is saying one of her comments got flagged. I'm not sure what that is about. I didn't flag anything. And then, sorry about that, Monique. And she's asking, did using 3 colors make any difference to one color base coat? No, it all depends on kind of what you're going after. What I like to do is with the split base, I like to have the upper part, one half of the split base be light and the other part be dark. This was kind of a 3 split. So we had a light, medium, and dark. And what I like to do is tilt the painting around. So, our paint puddles are going into the light and the dark. But when you look at it, the final painting, you have these light areas and dark areas, but they're all tied together because of our paint puddle is all kind of uniformly going through it. So I'm trying to, just 1 second. Let me grab, just 1 second. Oh my gosh. My mic fell. So here's the demo from Tuesday. And this has a split base. It had a light base on top and a dark base on bottom. And then we ran our funnel through it. And then we went back over it again, actually. But you can see it kind of, let me get in the camera. It all ties together. So you have these light areas and dark areas. And it's just a really fun way to do your base coat. Otherwise, it would all be, otherwise all the negative space would be the same color. I'd like to vary it up and change it and have it lighter colors, darker colors. You don't have to. It's just a one way of doing it, though. So good question, though. And Lynn is saying all of hers have flags. I don't know what that means either. I'll have to check that out. I'm not sure. I'm not flagging anything. So I'll have to check that out. Thanks for letting me know, though. Let's see here. So I'm checking to see any questions from before. And I'm not seeing anything at the moment. I got a lot of great comments, so thanks for all the support. I appreciate all the positive support. Oh my gosh. So let me go down to the bottom. So any last questions? Throw them in there. I'll be happy to answer. Oh, Ginger is saying milestone follower is the flag. So it's a good flag. Well, that's good. Thanks, Ginger. At least I think that's good. Cool. Thanks. So good flags, everyone. I hope. And then that was on Facebook. So I guess Facebook people are getting flags. Monique's on YouTube, though, so I'm not sure exactly what that is. I'll check it out about the flag stuff. So cool. All right. Well, this was a fun one, I think, even though it's, different than what we talked about. This is the whole point of what my mindset thing, which was on Wednesday. I have an intention at the beginning, do what I wanted to do, the best of my ability, let the paint do its thing. It decided to take over the whole painting, which is cool, and we just made the best of it. So we got a very interesting painting. I'm excited to see the end result when it's dry. I'll post pictures so you can check them out. I think it's going to look pretty darn cool. So, but then, what you do is you try it again. So next time, I'll mix up the same colors if I want, do it all again, use a whole lot less paint, and then see what we get on that go. So there's always another painting around the corner. So don't let any of these discourage you, even though if it's, it's a great big painting, and you spent all this time mixing paint, and you pour it on and, oh, it's, not quite what you wanted. Well, always look for the good parts, good aspects to it. There always will be. And just do your best with it and make it as good as you possibly can. And then, go ahead and try it again. So, because this is a very unpredictable style of artwork we're dealing with. So we have to be flexible. We have to have, let our expectations, get rid of them, to a degree, and just focus on what we can really control. And that's so important. And I think you'll be so much happier with most of your paintings if you just take what the paint gives you, work with it, do the best you can with it. Even though, like this, I had a fairly, planned out result. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, but I've done paintings like this before that kind of, did more of what I wanted them to do. This one didn't at all, but I still like the painting. So it's all about your mindset, how you look at it, be positive, learn from it, and then you can apply that to your next one. So, always be learning, always take away, some good aspect of your painting. And then if it's just a total disaster, you can always scrape it and do it again. So, and then just keep your paint, just scrape off your paint, put it in your jars. You can use it down the road for base coat or whatever. So all you've wasted is time. Sure, you've wasted time, a little bit of paint, but you've gained a lot of knowledge. So I urge you to, approach paintings that go sideways with that mindset. So I'm going to check and see if there are any final questions, and then we will break. Tomorrow is our last day of our little paint pouring extravaganza. And the last day to join the membership. I'm going to just throw that link in there one more time in case you have not gone over to check out what you're going to be getting if you join the membership. The link is in the chat. Go check it out. Tomorrow we'll do a little wrap up of this week. And then my members and I, we're going and doing some string pulls next week. String pulls and chain pulls. And if you want to be part of that fun, it's going to be fun. Think about joining our pouring studio membership. And let's see here. And I got a couple. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Who asked? Oh, Lily asked a question. Off topic, can we prime cradle board with regular primer used to paint furniture? I would avoid that. I would try to get a acrylic, a primer gesso. Try to get a gesso used for acrylic pouring. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a better product. It will give you better results. It's designed to be painted on top of with acrylic paints. I would urge you to try using that instead of just a regular primer. So you could try it, of course, but I would urge you to get and they're not super expensive. You can get a Liquitex Basics primer. It's pretty cheap. It's pretty affordable. But again, it's better than the primers you get at like Home Depot. So I'd urge you to get like an actual gesso for acrylics or artwork. That's what I think anyway. So, and Donna is asking, are we still having a member meeting after this? No, not tonight on our Friday demo. This will be a members only demo in the future moving forward. So like next week, we'll be meeting at 4 o'clock for our demo. And that'll just be our members only demo meeting. So this will be it for tonight, Donna. And cool. So thanks for all the great comments, everyone. I appreciate that. Let's see, any other questions? Yeah, I'm glad you were like my mindset thoughts. Appreciate that. And oh my God, Donna's got to go do the taxes. Oh, so there's no positive mindset about that one. I'm sorry, Donna. So, but good luck to you. Oh my gosh. And cool. Let's see. And so Lynn is saying, so we will meet on Wednesday and Friday. Yep, you bet you got it. So Wednesday, this coming Wednesday will be our string pull and chain pull technique walkthrough. And then Friday will be our demo day, just like tonight, at 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. That's our standard times that we meet. So, and I'll be posting all that in the, I'll send you the email, and it'll be posted in the membership as well. So, all right. All right, I think that's it for questions, everyone. So thanks so much for joining me with our double header demo. A couple of different types of pours, and we did experiment with a lot of different interesting pigments and color shift paints and interference colors. So we'll see what happens. And again, you don't have to use all those different things. You know, I don't use them very often, but they can be fun to play with. So, but go give a funnel pour a try, see what happens. If you feel like sharing in our Facebook group, the Acrylic Pouring Club, that group is open to anyone. If you want to go join that, just ask to join, and we'll let you in. And it's a fun little group to share your paintings as well. So I will see you all tomorrow. We'll have a little wrap up for our kind of Whirlwind Membership Experience Week. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. And that will be it. So thanks so much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And members, I will, if you can't make it tomorrow, I'll be seeing you next week, next Wednesday, for some string pull and chain pull fun. It's going to be great. Thanks, everyone. And I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.